Good evening, everyone. Good evening to our special guests from the Rotary Club of Makati, Ayala Triangle Chapter, and welcome to the webinar series of ARTHALAND Presents. On behalf of the board and management of ARTHALAND Corporation, we hope that you and your family are well. Tonight will be an engaging discussion on what it means to have that spark of joy in our own living spaces. Many of us have watched Marie Kondo in Netflix, or maybe we have read her best-selling book, Spark Joy, and the life-changing magic of tidying up. But how do we get that spark of joy? What is the KonMari method? What is this journey that will change my life? Joining us tonight to answer these questions is the country's first certified KonMari consultant, Christine Dychiao. Christine attended the KonMari Consultant Seminar in New York in 2017 and was certified in 2018. Since then, she has spent hundreds of hours working with clients, tidying and decluttering their homes. Before I turn you over to Christine, I'd like to invite you to type your questions or comments in the Q&A window, and we will respond to them after the presentation. And now, ARTHALAND presents Spark Joy with KonMari consultant, Christine Dychiao. Hi, Christine.
Hello. Hi, Rina. Hello, everyone. So good evening. Welcome to Spark Joy with ARTHALAND. I'm so excited to share with you the life-changing magic of tidying up. And I want to assure you, whether you are, looking for something productive to do, whether you are really serious about tidying and you really want to learn more, or, you haven't been doing anything, you're just, feeling the feels and, I don't know, maybe feeling anxious about what's happening, I guarantee you, after tidying, it will do wonders for whatever reason you are here, it will do wonders for you. So let's begin. If you're familiar with Marie Kondo or KonMari, there are just 6 rules to remember when you're tidying. It's just really simple, just 6 rules to remember. And I'll go through it one by one. I'll just run through it here quickly. One thing you have to remember is you have to commit to it. So that's number 1. Number 2, imagine your ideal lifestyle. 3, you have to finish discarding. You really have to let go. It's not just moving things around the house. It's really having to say goodbye to some things. 4th, you tidy by category. So you don't do it by room, it's by category. Number 5, you have to follow the right order. And 6, ask yourself if it sparks joy. Okay, so let's begin. What does commit mean? Many people say, I'll try, maybe today is the day I'll tidy. You always say like it's something unsure, diba? But you have to commit to tidying. And for me, in my own experience, to be able to be successful at tidying, you have to commit at least 3 hours per category. So that's like 3 hours for your clothes, 3 hours for your books. So it's just 3 hours, and I guarantee you, you will see wonders already. You will already see a difference in how your room feels like, how your cabinets look like when you open it. It just looks so peaceful. So commit 3 hours. And remember, tidying is a celebration. It's not a chore. So, success in tidying is 90% mindset. So, condition your mind that you're doing something fun, it's a celebration, you're liberating yourself from clutter, then it will be different versus you're thinking, oh, tidying, I'm gonna waste my time, sayang, kasi I have to clean the room. So it's really, conditioning yourself that it's fun, it's a celebration. Next, you have to imagine your ideal life. Many people, they go to the room and they just say, okay, I'll tidy it, but they have no vision of how the room will look like. And I wanna show you here this example. This is an example of a workspace, a work desk. And I asked my client, okay, how do you envision your ideal work desk? And she said, okay, I want to be able to sit down and be able to be productive, like really do something she works with oils. So she's a clinical aromatherapist. And when I asked her, why do you have all these things around you? She said, because I want to be productive. I want the stuff close to me so I don't have to keep on going back up and down the house, just getting my supplies. But it turns out because of all the clutter in her work desk, in her work area, she couldn't do anything because naguguluhan na siya. So her vision was a clean and tidy work desk where she has access to her oils and her Epsom salts and her packaging materials, but at the same time, she can enjoy her space. So with that vision in mind, we got this in just 2 hours. So she committed 3 hours to tidying her work area, but in 2 hours, we were able to convert it to this. And I think the secret here is because it was clear in her head what she wanted. So it's just like, when you're setting your corporate goals, now I want to do X amount of sales and be able to do this X amount of net income. You have something clear in your head. It's the same with just tidying spaces. You have to have clear goals. You have to have, achievable metrics. So here, this is what her goal was, a clean and tidy work desk, and she got it. So how did she get it? Actually, behind her work desk was her closet. And she found room for her oiling supplies underneath all her clothes. It turns out a lot of the stuff that she had on her cabinet were things she never really needed anymore. So we found empty boxes, shopping bags that were never used or were hardly used. Parang she could live without it. So they didn't really spark joy. So we removed all of that and she found room for all her oiling supplies right there. Next. Again, another work desk. This is a mom's work desk, which she shares with her husband. And she was saying, okay, my ideal goal here, my vision is I want a place where I can work. Because what happened was her kids would dump everything on her work desk, things that had no home. And they would just put it there. And of course, because it was so cluttered, she couldn't work on her work desk. It was clear in her head. She wanted a clean and tidy work desk. And she got it. Again, also just 2 hours. So if you really just commit to something, you can really achieve so much. And I have to tell you, 1 year later, I checked on her and said, oh, how's your work desk? Is it still tidy? And she said, you know what? She sent me a picture. This is how it looks like now. I've maintained it. And she was actually able to, lessen pa the stuff on her work desk. So it's something that you don't have to worry about rebounding. If you do it properly, it's just a one-time thing. And I know that, it won't look perfect all the time, but because you know how to deal with your clutter, you will be able to get that, dream space in maybe less than 15 minutes. You can do it on your own now. Next rule, you have to let go. Many of us, we have trouble letting go, and I'll explain to you later why, but you have to tell yourself also, no, you have to be mentally, emotionally, and psychologically prepared to let go of some of the things in your home that no longer serve you. Next. So you tidy by category. I'll go through the categories one by one, but as a rule, you don't tidy by room. Many of us, we were raised to, clean your room. Let's clean the kitchen. Let's work on the living room today. It's always room, by location. But with this method, it's best if you tidy by category because you are able to concentrate on what you need to tidy at a certain point. So here, for example, clothes. You have to gather everything. You can put it on your bed. You can put it on your floor, wherever, on your couch, wherever you want it. Basta gather it in one place. Don't open your closet and just pick one by one. You have to go through each piece from a pile and choose from there. So gather everything. If you have clothes in another room, if you have clothes in the laundry area, please put them in one spot, make a pile, and then choose. So here, this is my own closet, and I was able to really whittle down. And when I saw how neat and tidy it looked, it really, changed the energy of the room. Parang it just felt more fresco. Next, books. So you do the same thing, gather everything, pull them out from the library, from the bookshelves, from wherever your books are, and go through each piece. So here, this is an example. It's a mix of her kids' books and some of the mom's books. And the husband's books were kept in a separate place, and so we returned it there. But basically, you do that. You take everything out, and then you put them back and assign a place for each. So the cookbooks are in one area, one child's books are in one area, the picture books are in one area. So assign a home for each item, so you know where to look for it next time. Paper, you do the same, pull everything out. If you have young kids, let them do it on their own. Kids, don't underestimate them. They will know how to tidy. We just have to teach them. So this is a little girl. She was about in 4th grade I think at this time. And yeah, she took out her own papers and decided which ones she wanted to throw out and which ones she wanted to keep. So let your kids do it. They can do it. Trust them. The next category is kimono or miscellaneous. So what are miscellaneous items? Usually stuff in your kitchen, toiletries. So anything sports related or anything that isn't clothes, books, and paper. That's kimono. Sentimentals. Toys are actually kimono, but in this case, the toys were actually sentimental items for the mom. It turns out that when we were tidying her son's toys, she was the one kind of hanging on to the items and saying, "But that was yours when you were 2. That was a gift from Lola. Oh, but that was, there was always a story to certain items." And so while they were able to let go of certain stuff, she kept some of the toys that were sentimental to her. But remember, sentimental, I'll explain later why it's hard to let go, but sentimental is really hard talaga because, there are emotions and memories attached to these things. So it's okay. Don't worry about it, but just be aware why it's hard. And I'll go through it later, how to let go of sentimental. So to recap, you have to follow the right order: clothes, books, papers, kimono, and sentimental items. So other sentimental items include photos, maybe uniforms from your childhood. What else are sentimentals? Letters, anything that, gifts from other people, those are sentimental items. So leave it for last because they are the hardest to let go of. Many of us, when we go and tidy, we usually find a box of photos. And the first thing we do is open it. And the next thing you know, you're spending hours looking through old photos, reading old letters. So please leave sentimentals for last when you tidy. I'll just insert this. When you're dealing with digital clutter, this is the order you follow. Files, clean out your files first, and then emails, and then your apps. So this is something for those who have a lot of digital clutter. This is just an example of the categories you can deal with when tidying your digital clutter. And finally, the most important, you ask yourself, does it spark joy? And I know spark joy is kind of, what? But everything sparks joy for me. It's hard at first to figure out what sparks joy for you. But if you follow her suggestion that you work by category and then you go through each and every piece, you'll find, it's easy to find what sparks joy. And a tip for me is, example, you have a pile of clothes or a pile of shoes or a pile of books. What are the top 3 items there that you cannot live without? What makes you really happy to have them? And start from there. So it's not necessarily angels singing, you hear music, or you feel your heart is pounding very fast. It doesn't have to be like that. But you just have to ask yourself, what can't I live without? What is essential to me na if this book disappears, I'll really look for it. So it doesn't have to be like spark joy, but what makes you happy, what makes you, you know, happy that you have that item, and what serves you. Okay, so that's what spark joy means. So remember, this method is life transforming. It will change your life and your perspective, and you will never revert to clutter again. And you might say also, my house is always like, you know, a furniture showroom, always spick and span and perfect. Of course not, because life happens. You know, we use the kitchen, we eat at the dining table, we work on our work desk, we use the living room and, you know, spend time there, have merienda with visitors when they come. Well, of course, no visitors at this time, but, you know, we use these rooms. But the great thing about it is you know how to tidy and put it back in order when you've practiced this method already. Remember, clutter is not just the stuff on your floor. It's anything that stands between you and the life you want to be living. So don't think that, you know, oh, it's just clutter, wala yan, I have space for it, I have a room for that. Anything that you keep is actually keeping you from living the life of your dreams. So why not have the life of your dreams now? Especially, you know, many of us were confined in our own homes. You cannot really venture out. Why not make your home a sanctuary, a place where you can really feel safe and secure and you love your space, diba? You wouldn't feel claustrophobic if you love the home you're in right now. And remember, there is a cost to clutter. Clutter is not just, you know, stuff na one day I can use. Clutter that you keep at home, it's costing you time because you're always looking for lost things. It's costing you money. Sometimes you can't find what you're looking for. You have to end up buying another thing. And the next thing you know, you have 5 of the same things because you always keep on losing it and then you keep on buying it. Remember that clutter is also linked to stress. The more clutter, the higher your cortisol levels. So if you have more kalat, you have more stress, and we know that stress is linked to chronic illnesses. So it really does wonders for your health when you tidy. And next is you open up space because there's an opportunity loss when you have a junk room or a junk corner. That space could be a space that you can turn into a space that makes you happy, like a reading corner or a hobby room, or, you know, a space like an exercise room. So you can use that space for something that you truly love. So why just let the clutter and the kalat stay in that room? Sayang. So why does clutter happen? Okay, let me explain. Actually 3 things that causes clutter. One is you're attached to the past. You are holding on to something because you bought it for an X amount. And you say, sayang naman, I bought it for this much. But you have to remember, is it really a diamond or is it really kalat na? I mean, sometimes we're just so attached to the price, but if you try to sell it now, nobody will even, you know, want to buy it. Next, sentimental. So I explained, sentimental is hard because, yeah, it reminds you of your past. It, you know, brings up memories, and you have to ask yourself, is it good memories or bad memories? Because if it's good memories, fine, keep it, please, because it makes you happy. But if you're holding on to something because, you know, somebody might feel bad if they found out that you gave away your lola's old pottery or whatever that you don't even like. So you're holding on to something because you're afraid to offend. You have to ask yourself, is it for the right reasons that I'm holding on to? Maybe another cousin would want it, who would love it. So maybe give it to them. But remember, when you're giving something away, make sure that they really want it. Don't just pass it on and offload it to them. Bahala na sila. Please give it with thought and with, you know, care pa rin. So rule is for sentimental, if it makes you happy, if it brings good memories, keep it. If it's sentimental because you're feeling guilt or fear or, you know, negative emotions, please let it go. Another is the fear of the future. You're afraid of the future. That's why you are stockpiling. Or when you see a sale sign, buti now nga, there are not that much temptation because we're not going out to the malls. But if you're stockpiling something, please make it so because you really need it, not because, ay, sayang, it's on sale. I need it, you know, sayang if I don't buy now. If you're gonna use it, go ahead, take advantage of the sale. But if you're nanghihinayang lang because it's so cheap, but you're not even gonna use it, you'll just end up stocking it at home, forget about it. Next, one day I will use this. We keep something because we say one day baka magamit, one day I might lose weight, one day I might gain weight and become pregnant again, one day, you know, parang there's always a reason one day. But the reality is, you know, one day is usually never. If you never looked for it or used it in the last month or so, sometimes it's just better to let go of them. So I used to be like this. I would keep toiletries, hotel toiletries. But the thing is, I ended up storing so much. It was just taking up space in our banyo. So I've learned to let go and never add to them again. And finally, you forget to return things where they should belong, or you don't assign a place for these things. So I remember I always used to lose our car keys a lot. Like I would forget where I put it. And the simple solution lang pala was to have a nice, you know, candy bowl and put it by the front door so that when I came in, I would leave the keys there and voila, problem solved. I would always know where to look for the car keys now because I assigned a place for it. So always return things to where they belong. And if you don't have a place for it yet, assign a place for those things. Now, let's get to the meat of this presentation. I'd like to show you how to fold. So I hope you have your jeans and your shirts and the stuff that you want to fold, and I'll get to it. I'll just set up in a bit. Okay, are we ready? So I'm using my son's little rattan chair as the folding area. And let's begin. So let's start with, let's say, shorts. How do you fold shorts? So this is a pair of shorts. How you fold shorts is, you fold it half, like what you usually do. And remember, diba, there's this spot where it sticks out here. Just fold it in. And you get this nice little rectangle. And then you fold it in thirds or in fourths or in halves, depending on how deep your drawers are. So here, for example, we'll fold it in threes. So this is 1, 2, 3. And then if it stands, you know you got it right. Okay, next. A skirt. How do you fold a skirt? I used to, you know, hang a lot of my clothes, but I realized they take up so much space and folding is really the best way to, you know, minimize and optimize your space. So how do you fold a skirt? If it's, you know, hard to fold because the shape is irregular, remember the rule is just to have a rectangular shape piece of clothing. So you fold it like this. As you can see, this one is narrower than this portion where it overlaps because I was aiming for that rectangular shape. Just fold it again. Leave a bit of space at the bottom. I have to remind you to leave a bit of space at the bottom so that your clothes will not puff up at the bottom. There, it's gonna still be sleek and neat. And then you fold like this. So it will stand on its own. Okay. So if you have a drawer, the best thing really is to stack it like this, and I'll explain why when I show you how to store your clothes later. Next, a shirt. How do you fold shirts? A t-shirt. Most people want to see kasi the design in front so they know what shirt they're gonna use. Some people naman, they want to look, their clothes to look streamlined. So it's up to you if you want to fold it inwards or outwards. So for example, you want to see the design of your shirt, then just fold it the usual way that you would fold it. So you fold, diba? Usually when you stack your shirts, like, or when you buy shirts in stores, it's folded like this. That's fine. What you do lang is you leave a little bit of space at the bottom so that when you fold it in thirds or halves, so if, for example, in threes, you want it 1, 2, 3, it will stand. If you want to see the design outside, you can do that too. So this is your shirt, diba? The usual way you're folding. Then just fold it in threes. 1, 2, 3. So you can see the design. For jeans, how do you fold jeans? So yeah, I used to hang my jeans and they would take up like a huge amount of space. But when I started folding it and putting it in the cabinet, it really opened up a lot of space in my closet. So you fold it in. So this is the fly. You fold it in like that. And again, this portion that sticks out, this is what you fold in like this. So you see, you fold it in half, leave a bit of space at the bottom, and then fold in thirds. So 1, 2, 3. It will stand on its own. For long-sleeved shirts, it's just the same as folding a regular t-shirt. You just have to make sure that this portion, the long sleeve portion, you fold extra. So usually we fold it like this. You have to fold it in one more time within this line so that it doesn't stick out. Again, fold. So here you fold once and then you fold another time. Again, you leave a little space at the bottom and then you fold. So it looks nice and neat. And as you can see here in my presentation, that's how I keep my clothes, my shirts, my t-shirts. I see it at a glance when I open everything. So if you have the designs of your t-shirts out, it's easy to pull out what you need. You arrange from lightest to darkest. And it's just so neat and tidy. And you don't have to, because when you're stacking t-shirts, like how we were raised to do so, when you pull something out at the bottom, it topples. This way, even if you pull something out, everything stays in place. So it's very, very easy to maintain. Next, jeans. So that's how I fold my jeans and that's how I store my jeans. And it takes up a little amount of space na lang. So it really opened up my closet. Parang my clothes can finally breathe. And well, we're not going to be traveling anytime soon, but one benefit that I really enjoy about having my clothes tidied up like this and folded and organized like this is I see everything when I have to pack. I know where everything is. It's so fast for me. I know where, and they're pre-folded. So it's so easy. Parang in 10 minutes, I can pack very quickly. I don't have to look for the thermals, the beach stuff, the sweatshirts. I know where everything is. So there, yeah. Just some KonMari storage tips before we go to the Q&A. Remember, the rule is try to store in one space. So all your jeans in one space, all your books in one space, all your tools in one space. And when you set it up, make sure that you see everything. So you know where you know, if something is missing, if something is kulang, and you don't have to really, you know, spend for storage space. I mean, it's nice, especially now, to, you know, prettify your space, but it's hard kasi most of the shops are closed, like the DIY, the True Values, and Ace Hardware. So you kind of have to be creative, but just, you know, remember lang, use what you have. You can organize your space with what you have. You'll be surprised at how creative you can be. Now, remember to define storage spaces. If you, as much as possible, try not to mix up people's stuff. Kasi, especially if you have young kids, if they are responsible for their own space, they'll take care of it. Kasi there's no finger pointing na, oh, it was ate, it's her side of the cabinet, she's messy, so I'm not incentivized to keep it tidy. So try to define storage spaces. And when hanging clothes, simple rule, longest to shortest from left to right. It just makes it look more streamlined, so neat, and so lovely to look at. Next, for your storage stationery supplies, think bento. If you have a drawer, even for your kitchen stuff, compartmentalize and assign a place for everything so it's easy. And you know, oh, I'm running out of, you know, bowl clips, I'm running out of post-its, I'm running out of pencils or scotch tape. So assign a place for everything and just compartmentalize. If you don't have drawers, just feel free to use bins or baskets or even shoe boxes. Just be creative. You'll find something for sure while you're tidying your house. Now, you don't even have to go and buy new storage solutions. And it just looks so much neater when you have, you know, everything that's easy to just pull out versus stacking it. Iba talaga when you're pulling it out versus stacking one on top of the other. So here, for example, I used old boxes, perfume boxes. I was able to sort and organize my scarves, and I didn't have to buy anything. For paper, just make 3 piles. Immediates, meaning the things that you need to work on right away, you know, sign a check, deposit a check, pay a bill. Limited, meaning items that you need to keep for a limited time. So maybe tax returns, warranties from your appliances, anything that you need to keep for a short period of time because you need to access it. Please put it in one pile. And then the indefinites, maybe art certificates, land titles, you know, super important stuff that you need to keep forever. Please put it in one secure area, maybe a filing cabinet, maybe in the bank, wherever it is, like a bank safe. But set it aside so that also when you need to look for things, you kind of have an idea where to look for it versus you're sorting through several sheets of paper looking for something. So assign lang by immediates, limited, and indefinite. When keeping, it really depends on what's intuitive for you. I usually store by material, so all the cottons together, all the linens together, all the whatever together. But if it makes sense for you to keep all your tablecloth sets, your table linens, just do what works for you. And remember, you can also do the same, fold to stand when you're folding your linens, table linens and bedroom linens. So remember, the benefits of decluttering is more than just our physical space. It really benefits our mental headspace as well. It becomes, it becomes not just our home that is tidy, but our head is tidy. We can think better. We can make better decisions. We're less stressed. We have more focus. We're more productive. We become more mindful and content. We're healthier because you're mentally and physically healthy. And sometimes in the midst of tidying, you find your purpose because you remember, you reconnect to yourself, to who you are. And at the end of the day, it brings you happiness. So if you'd like to learn more about Marie Kondo and her books, she has 4 books now. There's the manga for younger kids. My daughter loves reading this. There's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, which is her first book. There's Spark Joy. And finally, the recently released Joy at Work. So how do you find joy and happiness in your career? And if you'd like to learn more, I've got sparkjoy.ph on Instagram and a support group on Facebook. So remember, when you tidy your space, you transform your life. Happy tidying, and I open the floor to your questions.
Thank you so much, Christine. That was quite informative, and I hope it will be life-changing for a lot of us.
It will be, I promise.
The others, medyo it really, hit me. Parang, uy, that's me, diba? Anyway, I have some questions here, Christina.
Okay,
Some were
sure.
sent through reminders for those who are viewing. You can type in your questions in the Q&A box below. Or some were texting me, so I will just read some of them, Christina.
Okay, sure.
I have here, which clothes are really for hanging?
Okay. If it doesn't stand on its own, so usually silk, linens, like clothes that crumple easily, it's better to hang them. Polyester, so some are too soft kasi, it's just better to hang them. Or if they're prone to wrinkling. So that's the general rule. Sometimes also if it's heavy, like coats, winter coats, and leather jackets. So stuff like that, bulky, too soft, prone to wrinkling, just hang them.
Okay. So I guess related here is, how do I fold silky slacks or trousers?
Yeah, okay. So pagka ganon, because they're soft, just hang them in your closet. Use the hanger. It's okay. It's not naman a bad thing.
Okay. What do you do if you're really sentimental and find it difficult to let go?
I realized I was like that before. I was holding on to a lot of things from college, from high school. And I realized, when I started tidying by category, like clothes, books, papers, by the time I reached the sentimentals, parang mas clear ka na mag-isip, and you can really let go na of the things that no longer, really spark joy for you. So before, I was holding on to a lot of my kids' baby clothes because, they're sentimental. But I realized as I tidied na, maluluma din to eventually. I'd rather that they be enjoyed by other children. And I would just end up keeping talagang mga special. So what the clothes that they came home from the hospital in, the blanket, but other clothes, I was able to let go of na. So just go through the process of tidying by category. By the time you reach sentimental, you'll be able to, mas hold na yung talagang sentimental na you want to keep. So you don't end up keeping everything because that was your kids' clothes when they were young, but more of the special spark joy clothes na lang talaga. So it's easier na. Para mas masarap na yung feeling of actually giving away and allowing other people to enjoy those items.
Okay. I guess related to that is how often do you recommend doing spring cleaning?
Actually, you know what? The great thing about this is the big purge, like the big tidying work, you only do it once. Yung talagang everything in the house you purge and let go. It's just one time. It's just a one-time thing. But the spring cleaning, because especially if you have young children, you'll have to keep doing it once a year at least because they grow, they outgrow certain clothes and toys and stuff. Maybe once a year. But if you have no kids anymore and you have your, you're just you and your space, if you've done it once, it's so easy to maintain that you don't actually have to do it annually.
Oh, okay. Okay. Would you know the expiry dates of some cosmetics and toiletries?
Okay. There's a rule na if you open it, it's just 6 months to a year. But ako personally, because I'm not really, I don't really use makeup a lot. So sometimes 2 years I keep it as long as it doesn't smell bad and my skin doesn't feel itchy. I mean, I keep it. So it's if you're very pihikan and you really want, so it's usually 6 months to a year for, makeup. But for me personally, if it doesn't feel bad on my skin, I still use it because sometimes the color I like it, so and sometimes they're discontinued na. But if example you had an eye infection, then I think it's best to just throw them away. But I have a friend who's a makeup artist, and she told me na actually if you want to prolong the life, after you use it, get alcohol, like a ball soaked with alcohol, and just wipe it. You can prolong talaga the life of your cosmetics.
Oh, okay. That's good. It says here, how do you keep gowns, formal clothes? Like clothes you only used once.
Okay, if they really spark joy, maybe just assign a cabinet for your formal clothes. I have an area in our closet that's just for formal. So they're just there. I hang them, but I eventually learned of this school in Bukidnon where I donated a lot of my old gowns that I no longer use because they have proms and they give it to the kids there so they can use it for their prom. So you can find, make room naman for a bit of, space in your closet. Find a worthy organization who can take them in and really use it.
Should I hang clothes by color or by purpose? Work clothes, winter clothes, or by color?
Okay. The rule is seasonal stuff. So set them aside. Maybe you can put them in one area. Maybe hang the clothes, the coats, and then put your scarves and thermals in maybe a box, like a plastic box, so that when you have to travel, you know where to find them. So just set them aside, just assign an area. I would do it seasonals in one area, and then maybe work clothes, another section, arranged by color or by longest to shortest, like how I showed, how to hang it. You can do it, it's whatever is intuitive for you. Kasi it depends. Some people are visual, they like it by color, then do it by color and the longest to shortest. Or do it by color, bahala na ano yung length sa ilalim. Basta how it makes you happy, do what works for you.
Okay. Do you limit your number of bags, pair of pants, etc., so you avoid collecting so many items?
The great thing about KonMari is there is no limit. It's not minimalism. It's what makes you happy.
Okay,
so,
that's good.
There is no, basta, the bottom line is, if it makes you happy, you'll find space for it and you'll make room for it because you will take out the things that do not make you happy. So at the end of the day, it balances out. Like you'll have room for everything that you love, and everything that you don't really like or need or want, you bring it out. So personally, I love shoes, I love bags, I have a lot, and it's okay. You can keep it.
Hey.
There's no rule. As long as it makes you happy. But I've also disposed of a lot of shoes and bags that don't make me happy, that are uncomfortable, that are, I don't really use anymore. So it just makes you want to keep what you really love. So if it's 100, it doesn't matter as long as you love all of them.
Okay, what do you do if after decluttering, you still go back to your old self? How many relapse before you give up?
Actually, may relapse ba? It's not really a relapse. It's more of na-tidy mo na, and then it becomes a bit messy because you use it, diba? You take out the plates, you take out your laptop and your papers. Siguro, what would have taken you the whole weekend to tidy, you can fix in 30 minutes. So it's not really a relapse na pagka nagulo na, it's another 2 years, 3 years of living with the mess. It's a relapse, like a minor relapse na it's messy for 2 weeks, but in 30 minutes you can fix it again. Parang because you've honed that ability and that knowledge and that technique of tidying na you won't really relapse. I don't think it's gonna be called a relapse. Maybe a temporary mess, but not a relapse.
Temporary mess. I like that word. Temporary mess. Okay. We have a last question here. Do you have articles or books on recycling and repurposing?
You know what? A lot of in Facebook, I've joined. There's a zero waste group. There's a lot of groups that you can actually join. Na you don't even have to really buy books anymore. But actually, sometimes you don't even have to buy books. Parang because you see it, you become creative and you figure out a way of how to repurpose. So like me, the candy jar, the candy dish that was given to us, that we turned into the bowl for the keys. You just end up being creative and using what you have at home. So just tidy and don't buy anything yet. Just go with the flow. And I think because you have this mindset na you're open na, you're carrying things, keeping things that spark joy, the perfect book will come to you at the right time, I think. So just my suggestion is tidy first, and then everything will follow. Everything else will follow.
Okay, so my question personally, do you go to homes or offices to do professional services? Like
Yes.
You do? Okay.
I've done that. Currently, I do. I'm helping a friend, and it's virtual. Like we do it like this, and so she'll show me 10, am I doing it right? And then I'll let her do it. Then she'll send me photos, tama ba? So, I do it. I do it for offices too. But I also want to assure you that even without me around, you can do it. You don't have to have me there. Try to do it first on your own. And it's really a very soulful process. Like you get to know yourself better. And it's like spending time with yourself then, because you're going through each piece. Kasi, it's quite common na some of my clients would say, when you left, I cried. So it's very emotional kasi. So, enjoy the process. And if you need me, I'm here.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, Christine, this was a very, very interesting topic. Really something we should all have in our lives, right? Because it's not only cleaning up your place, but cleaning your mind as well.
Yes, decluttering, the mental
Decluttering, yes, yeah. I myself actually had a lot of tips that I'm gonna use definitely.
Wonderful. Happy to hear that.
Yes. So in behalf of ARTHALAND, Christine, thank you so much for this very interesting session. And to all our attendees, thank you so much. And we hope to see you in future ARTHALAND webinar series. Okay. Good night all.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.